Welcome back to World Crisis Radio. Now we have to turn from the death to China, death to Russia chanting by the Rafsanjani Mousavi mob of street fighters and hooligans in Tehran today, Friday, the 17th of July, as we're recording. Let's now switch to the economic front. Now, you'll remember Oliver Cromwell, the villainous dictator of England during the English Civil War, tried to wipe out Christmas and Easter and all the other holidays in the Christian calendar at the time. Now we have Obama, for the first dictator or would-be dictator of the English-speaking world, to undertake an attack on Christmas, and you're going to see how. This has to do with CIT factors, and we're going to put this in context for you first. Let's just get the economic overview. This past week, we've had hysteria in the stock market. The Anglo-Americans have convinced themselves that the worst is over, that the recession is over, that we're headed towards singing tomorrows. And the basis of this is the earnings reports from a series of banks. We've had J.P. Morgan Chase reporting this week, Goldman Sachs have reported, Bank of America have reported, Citibank have reported. And the news is good, if you believe it, which, of course, here we don't. What we've got on the public side of it, right, the surface of things, the empiricist view, is that J.P. Morgan has reported $2.72 billion in profits in the most recent quarter. Goldman, even more than that. Goldman, what, $3 to $4 billion? You can check the figure online. But Goldman Sachs says they have had the best quarter ever. Bank of America and Citibank, while not equally rosy, are much better than anybody thought. So, gee, it looks like prosperity is just around the corner. The green shoots are everywhere. Not so fast. Notice what this is based on. It's based above all on the idea that instead of having to take all of your toxic, cancerous, fictitious, bloated derivatives and mark them to market, meaning zero or something asymptotically approaching zero, they've now got to, well, they can do whatever they want. They can mark it to model. You can mark it to a model, or you can mark it to a supermodel. You can claim your derivatives are worth whatever you want, because you just take out your Black-Scholes, you soup that up a little bit with some overdrive in there. You can claim whatever you want. There's also word that Citibank, in particular, has been padding their balance sheet with asset sales. They've sold off a brokerage or two. And otherwise, they're all profiting, of course, from the fact that Bear Stearns has gone into the great beyond, and Lehman Brothers has gone into the great beyond. Actually, Bear Stearns has been phagocytated, that is to say, gobbled up by J.P. Morgan Chase. So lifeboat ethics, there are a couple of people have been thrown out of the lifeboat, so those, or maybe they've been cannibalized by those who remain. So that competition is gone. Naturally, J.P. Morgan claims that they have paid off their top money. Goldman Sachs claim that they have paid off their top money, but make no mistake, all of these banks continue to get money from the government. That's from the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation and from the Federal Reserve. They're getting cheap federal credit for speculators. That's our regime now. We have subsidized cheap federal credit for speculators through the Federal Reserve, through Helicopter Ben Bernanke, for J.P. Morgan, Goldman, Bank of America, Citibank, and so forth. These are the four leading zombie banks. I don't want to forget about Wells Fargo, Bank of New York Mellon. They also qualify as leading zombies. And the reason we know that they're zombies is, as everybody agrees, credit is not flowing. There is no lending, and there is no borrowing. A lot of people, a lot of these zombie banks are simply incapable of lending. They have to focus on their own proprietary trading. That's what we see with J.P. Morgan. It's the investment bank. It's the speculative desk, the proprietary trading, the derivatives, the energy trading, speculation of all sorts. That's where they get their money. Their commercial banking side looks pretty sick. And with Goldman, we have a window into that. high-frequency trading. There's been some question of a special super-duper computer sales program which robs you before you even know what's going on. It works with light speed, warp speed. Goldman Sachs can pick your pocket at warp speed using this super modern high-frequency trading program, a computer program. We know about this because it's allegedly one of the programs has been stolen. So Goldman is the quickest on the draw on the street. Of all the gunslingers in Wall Street, Goldman Sachs is the quickest. So the notion that the market is rigged is gaining ground, right? The little people should not be in that rigged market, certainly. So this is the picture that they want you to see, and naturally, when the stock market sees that, they become hysterical. They've got new gurus out there. They've got new this woman analyst who was able to predict that Goldman's result would be much better than anybody thought, and this then leads to a hysterical rally and so forth. Every time you see the stock market go up like that, 7% on the S&P up in 1 week, this makes you wonder, is that the beginning of hyperinflation? Because hyperinflation is coming, and one of the ways you're going to see it is if the stock market begins to take off, there's going to be a phase of euphoria until people realize by the time you get to Dow 35,000, as Glassman predicted some years back, you'll get there, but you'll get there by way of hyperinflation. And your Dow 35,000 will be matched by, $500 for a gallon of milk or $1,000 for a gallon of milk. So that can easily be coming really at any time. Once again, we are between the first wave of the Depression and the second wave. We are between October 1929 U.S. stock market crash, an important event, a detonator, and a much more important worldwide event, which was the British defaulting on gold, the Bank of England ceasing gold payment in September 1931, destroying the only system we had at that time in the world for the financing of world trade, the pound sterling bill of exchange drawn on London. Once that was blown up, then world trade collapsed. Now, the British obviously want to deflect attention from that. The British always want to tell you, oh, holy smooth, U.S. protectionism did it, strangled world trade. Baloney, it was the default of the British pound, September 1931, that blew up the world monetary system. The responsibility goes on the account of London, of the city of London. So we're between those. Remember, in the U.S. then there was a third wave, 1932 to 1933, a banking crisis which shut down every bank in the country. They were all shut down by the time Roosevelt came in. And all he did with the bank holiday was to legalize and make orderly what had been chaotic and largely illegal. So we'll be back in a minute.